So, did you guys hear about this where apparently a couple of days ago, I don't know what happened, but I missed all the stories from a couple of days ago. Um, there were a bunch of articles in various different papers, including in France, that Meghan and Harry are being slammed as frauds for their children's school choices, for the schools they want to enroll Lily and Archie in. Now, I don't recall, and do correct me if I'm wrong, Meghan and Harry issuing any statements on their website or through their spokespersons about Lily and Archie's school, right? I mean, I don't know where everyone is getting this story, but everyone is on the story, including in France in several different papers, and certainly in the UK, the Mirror, all these papers, I think even the Daily Mail and so on, that Meghan and Harry are looking into schools. It doesn't say they've actually enrolled the children. It says that they are considering enrolling the children. So I'm kind of sitting here thinking to myself, where did these people get this memo about what Harry and Meghan are considering doing? Because if you're considering doing something, usually that's sort of in your mind, in your thinking, it's hardly ever spoken. Or I mean, did they send an email to People magazine, to Hello magazine, to the Daily Mail saying we're considering enrolling our children in these schools? How is this a story? Where are these people getting this from? Who said this? I mean, that's on the one hand, that's the first set of questions, is how do all of these people know what Meghan and Harry are considering for their children whom nobody has seen in the last several years? I mean, that's the first set of questions. Okay. But once you ask those first set of questions, it says here Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are under fire. They are under fire for reportedly considering enrolling their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, in outrageously expensive schools. Some of the highly esteemed schools being considered have annual fees reaching up to 40,000. These schools are situated in Montecito, the upscale area of California where the couple resides. Richard Minyards. Richard Minyards. Why does that sound familiar? I mean, so the first set of questions. So the second set of questions. Richard Minyards from the Oh, wow. It says here Richard Minyards from the Montecito Journal disclosed earlier this week Prince Harry and Meghan are contemplating enrolling their two children, Archie and Lilibet, in a local private school. Oh, it's somebody from Montecito, California who dropped that. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's insane. So, royal commentator Lee Cohen criticized the Sussexes for pondering such costly educational institutions, stating that their supposed commitment to progressive causes is merely a facade. He remarked, if they're willing to indulge in this epitome of elitism, there is no advocating for equality. Cohen highlighted the exorbitant fees of the schools under consideration, ranging from 60,000 to 50,000 plus for older grades. He questioned the couple's decision given the financial struggles faced by many families. Defenders speak out. However, some individuals have come to the defense of Meghan and Harry's choice. One user on social media commented that no one should criticize their decision to prioritize their children's safety. Another emphasized that education is a priority for the couple. I mean, my big thing is, I mean, So what is this guy suggesting? This guy Lee Cohen, where does he live? First of all, does he have children? And where do they go to school? Let's assuming that wherever he lives, they go to the local public school. Would he like for Meghan and Harry to bring their children over to wherever he lives to send them to the same public school as his children? Will that make him happy? Will that make him feel like Meghan and Harry are worthy of admiration, or good parents? Do Meghan and Harry become good parents if they take their children to the same school as Lee Cohen? Because where does he want them to send their children to school? He needs to send them a memorandum with the schools that he can allow Lily and Archie to go. It seems that it's his decision where this couple sends their children, right? So I imagine that one of the choices would be where he sends his own children. And probably that's in a public school somewhere. Where does this man live? Does he live in California? Where does he live in Michigan? Does he live in the inner cities of Brooklyn? Where does he live? In East London? Mayfair? Where does this guy live? Who is this guy, Lee Cohen, right? Because where does this man get off thinking that he has a say in where anybody else at all, not just Meghan and Harry, any other parent anywhere, where they send their children, right? This is really my question, because I don't know where anybody gets off telling another parent how much money that parent can spend on their own children. If Lee Cohen doesn't have $60,000 to spend on his education, his children's education, and if his children are not worth a $60,000 education according to him, that's his prerogative. He spawned these children. He decides what happens to them, where they go, what is the quality of their education, and how much money he's willing to spend on them. Those are his spawn, right? That's his business. But when he's going to turn to his neighbor and tell his neighbor that you can only spend $1,000 on your children's education and you can spend 5,000 on your children's education, and you need to put your children in public school and spend nothing on their education, to the third neighbor, and then Meghan and Harry, I mean, God forbid, don't send your children to school at all, because I said so, because any education that they get is too much for them. I mean, it's like, that's really the kind of thinking this man is exhibiting, that he has the right to tell any parent, anyone at all, where they can send their children to school and how much they are allowed to pay for their children's education, how much they're allowed to spend on their children, period. Because it's not just their education, it's everything that these children are going to get because of who their parents are, may be too much for people like Lee Cohen. Harry and Meghan did not create poverty. They did not create, you know, the economy of other people's lives, whereby, they decide how much money people make. Moreover, if these schools already exist, it says that there are other parents paying $60,000 a year for their children's education. What does Lee have to say about that? What does Lee Cohen have to say to those parents? With this kind of argument, he really should be calling for these schools to be closed and to not exist. He should be making the argument, if he really cares about equality, he should be advocating for all of these schools above any particular tuition level that he deems inappropriate. If he thinks anything over $10,000 is too much and too elite for parents to spend on their children, he needs to advocate for that broadly so that he's not a fucking hypocrite, right? You can't just single out one pair of parents, you know, for two children and say, these two children can't come to this school because it's too expensive and it's elitist. But the school is filled with thousands of children and you have absolutely no problem with that. It means that you're a fucking hypocrite, Lee, right? And then you need to shut up because nobody wants to hear your hypocrisy. You're either against elitism, period, or you're not. You can't just single out two people and say that they are the devil because they spend $60,000 on their kids, and you're perfectly okay with thousands of other people doing the same thing. That's my position on this. Sorry for the F bombs, but it's like, it's too late, and I'm tired and just fed up with these people and their nonsense.